Thanks, Sean. Carla from St. Mary's Nursery joining us with expert gardening advice for this week's Green Thumb segment. We're going to listen to you, not the camera guys, because they obviously have no idea how to garden, as we just found out. But today it's all about watering, because it's not as simple as just putting a little water in the container.
It's not. Watering, and when you visit, and I always say at the garden center, watering is probably the most important aspect of gardening. You have to know how to water, what plants like moisture, and how to do it properly. So just to start off, I just wanted to show you, I sacrificed a plant for a little bit. So this is a telltale sign that we need some moisture. We've got some plants that are sort of, we knew we were coming here about a week ago, so we let it dry out a little bit. But if you take a look at the root system that's on here, if I pop it out, you'll see how dry it is. Now when we water, I've got some stuff in. We may give this a nice little drink on the top, and some people, all right, if you hold that up, you'll see that water has already wicked all the way through. And we think, geez, in a larger portion of a pot, we might think that we've watered that ample enough. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is the top of it looks like it's wet, but when we pop it out again, all right, do you see the transition where we have some moisture that actually has gone into the soil, but it hasn't gone through properly. So we want to make sure that this has been severely dry, and this is what can happen to some of our hanging baskets. The root ball system gets so dry that when we're having it up high and we're watering it, all of a sudden we see the water flush through the bottom of the pot, because remember, we have to have drainage holes.
Yes, very important.
Okay, so the drainage hole that comes from the bottom. So when we see that water running through, we think, oh, it's had so much water, it's giving off the rest.
It's good,
so at this point, we want to make sure that we're super watering it so that it's actually wicking up and going through the entire thing. And if it goes to the extreme where your baskets are really dry, that's our hot temperatures that we've been having for the last, 30 degrees, 28. We're almost checking our baskets twice a day.
Twice a day?
Yeah, and I would let that sit in there, and you felt how light that was before.
Yeah.
So we're gonna let this sit, and we're gonna actually let it wick up some of that moisture, okay?
Okay.
So we can do some hand watering on our baskets. And that brings us down into some of the cool things that you can do to help you implement your watering. And a lot of us can't really get, once our baskets are hung, they're up high, and if they get heavy, we don't want to be lifting them down unless you want to build up some muscle. So there are some things to help you. This one is a little bit of a hook, so when it's watering, you can actually attach it to the basket, let it hang on the side, and it will water and wick through. So you can go from one side to the other side and make sure that the moisture of the root ball is already
and
gone
then just
through.
let it go.
Yes. Okay, now we go into sprinkler heads, and this is where we're looking at some funky ones. This one here has the click gardenia system that's onto it, but you can see on through here we can regulate. So we want to be sort of water wise as well. We want to know what our plants need, how much moisture to give, and be water wise. This one you can actually regulate, so you can narrow the spaces so we don't have a lot of runoff onto roadways, sidewalks, pathways. Limit your water use to make sure you're targeting what you're actually going for.
That's good, because those bills start to add up when you're watering lots.
Especially when you're trying to go through, because you have to remember some of our trees, and mature trees as well as our hanging baskets and our containers, we're checking those almost daily on extreme temperatures. But some of our mature trees that are in the garden, don't forget about those as well, because they need as much moisture because they're established, their roots go a little deeper, and in drier times, they need to have that moisture brought into them as well, especially going into winter when we get into evergreens and cedars and all that.
Okay, well, we're going to pick this up in just a couple of minutes. Carla's going to stick around and we'll be back to finish off the watering and then also answer some viewer questions, including how to get your husband involved in the gardening. How do you do it? Who knows? That's coming up on BT. Stay with us.
BT's Green Thumb with Carla brought to you by St. Mary's Nursery every Tuesday morning on Breakfast Television.